Everyone tells you to learn English by memorizing vocabulary and studying grammar. I did that for 5 hours straight, and I could remember a single word the next day. 2 years later, I'm fluent, running a business in English, and have scholarships to study abroad. Here's why 90% of English learners are following the wrong roadmap and the exact 4-step system that actually works. This is what the internet won't tell you. There's a phase called Valley of Despair, where most people quit. Schools don't teach this, apps don't mention it, but every fluent speaker has to survive it. I almost didn't, and that is when I discovered something that changed everything. This was me 2 years ago. Warehouse job, 6:30 a.m. to 6 p.m., scattered papers everywhere, using a laptop older than some of you watching this right now. After 2 weeks of proper study, I gave up completely. If you told me that I would be where I am today, I would probably laugh until I cried. But that failure taught me something crucial. English fluency is not about doing more, it's about doing less, but doing it right. I discovered 4 brain hacks that got me fluent in 2 years when most people take 5. And yes, I did it alone. No teachers, no expensive courses, no classes. Now, most people think learning English starts with opening a textbook. They're wrong. It starts with one question that will determine whether you succeed or quit in frustration. Let me take you back to where this really began. I was born in a tiny city in the middle of nowhere. English was not even on my mind, but I always knew I wanted to be successful. So when I heard that English was one of the keys to success, I decided I had to learn it. I remember sitting in my little room, especially in the first few weeks, papers scattered all over the place, my laptop older than me, an old notebook that I would had since I was 12 years old, and a pen that didn't even work well, all across my desk. It was already 1 a.m. and I was trying to start learning English, no stop, for 5 hours straight. I was doing everything right, memorizing words, studying vocabulary, highlighting important phrases, but deep down, something fell off. Despite all that, all the information was slipping through my brain like sand through my fingers. That night changed everything for me, not because I finally knew what to do, but because I was failing badly. It forced me to face a hard truth. I had no clue how to learn English. After 2 weeks, I can't do this. I gave up. Yes, just 2 weeks later, I gave up. I was devastated. Do you know what happens when you decide to jump into a pool without knowing how to swim? You're probably going to struggle a bit. That is exactly what happened to me. I didn't follow the right steps. However, it wasn't the end. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here. Pen and notebook, let's do this the right way. I spent a few hours crafting my plan, examining my motivation, and anticipating the struggles I would face along the way. Every single minute was valuable, until, finally, I got it. I have to learn English because I have to do this, and wait. Calm down. Again, I have to learn English because without it, I will not be able to start my business to achieve financial freedom. Because I'm a beginner and I only know how to say, my name is, I have to focus on building my vocabulary, gradually start practicing speaking and consuming English as much as I can for now. And I knew I was on the right track after reading this quote from Friedrich Nietzsche. He who has a why can bear anyhow. Step 1, done. Now it's time to take action. For the next few months, I went through many ups and downs. I thought about giving up many times. I almost did. I got frustrated, unmotivated, and mad. But on other days, I was focused, motivated, and happy with the progress that I was making. Here's something that kept me going. I tracked one simple metric every single day. No vocabulary words learned or hours studied, but sentences that I could think in English first without translating it. Watch how my English has improved since I tried to record myself speaking for the first time. Hello. Oh my god, man. Hey, this is my first video. I'm just recording with my phone, nothing, just my phone, and that's it. Slowly I was going from beginner to intermediate. You might think this was a good thing. Well, it was, but there was a problem that I was not prepared for. Here's a dirty secret that every English app and class hides from you. The intermediate level is where most people give up on learning English. They don't want you to know this because if you knew what was coming, you might not be fully invested. The hardest thing is starting, right? And after you get out of beginner stage, you've already made a lot of progress, right? Well, wrong. And I realized it when I had my own experience. This is where I was. Keep that in mind. During this time, I felt like I was one frustration away from giving up. Movies, I still needed subtitles. Speaking, still froze. Writing, still full of mistakes. I started asking myself, am I not smart enough for this? Am I wasting my time? The excitement of going from beginner to intermediate level was gone, and every day felt like a battle. Until I was introduced to a book that changed everything. The Dip. This book had one simple message. What I was feeling was not failure, it was the test. Every person who becomes fluent in English has to survive this exact phase. The ones that don't make it, they quit right after. If you're watching this right now and you have ever felt like giving up, this is for you. But here's what changed everything. The dip has an end. You just have to refuse to quit when everyone else does. Remember this graphic? That is when everything started to make sense. I was in this part that separates the dreamers from the people who actually become fluent in English. The Valley of Despair. The question was not whether I was smart enough. It was whether I wanted badly enough to push it through. The Valley of Despair is where the journey truly begins, where motivation disappears and all you have left is frustration. I remember having so much doubt about whether I would succeed, but something amazing was happening that gave me hope. Every week, I was discovering new books and videos that were introducing me to new techniques and ideas. But these were not about grammar or pronunciation. They were about brain hacks. And they just didn't get me out of the intermediate level. They made me unstoppable. Now, this next part is where most people mess up. They think learning English is about language techniques. It's not. It's about rewiring your brain. Brain hack number 1, fluency dopamine detox. You might have heard of dopamine detox before, but let me explain exactly how I use it specifically for English fluency. Dopamine detox means cutting the habits that give you dopamine without working for it. Think of waking up, grabbing your phone, and scrolling through TikTok for hours. But I use this for one reason, to make my English better. Ladies and gentlemen, may I introduce you to Fluency Dopamine Detox. Wouldn't it be amazing if all you had available during your free time was practicing English without any distractions? Imagine how faster you would learn. I stopped consuming content in my native language, I stopped scrolling, and I stopped watching anything that didn't teach me anything. I deleted Instagram, TikTok, and changed everything to English. I know it sounds like torture right now, but it's just because your mind is used to the easy stuff. Brain hack number 2, eat the frog method. This comes from a book and simply means doing the hardest task of your day first, like practicing speaking or writing, which most people procrastinate on. Every single morning at 5 a.m., the first thing I did was practice speaking for 2 hours, writing for 1 hour, learning vocabulary, and read 2 pages of a book out loud. When you do the hard stuff first, there's no anticipation or dread hanging over you all day. Brain hack number 3, Sunday success planning. I discovered this by accident. Making too many small decisions burns out your brain. So every Sunday night, I spend 1 hour planning my entire English week. What I would study, what would I practice, what would I watch? Everything is decided in advance. No more, what should I do today? No more decision fatigue. Just execute the plan. Brain hack number 4, the 100-point energy system. Picture this, you wake up exactly with 100 brain points every single day. Scrolling your phone, minus 10 points. Watching Netflix, minus 30 points. Everything costs brain points. The goal? Use as many brain points as possible on practical English tasks, while your brain is fresh and focused. Each one sounds simple by itself, but together they rewired how my brain worked with English and made me fluent in 2 years when most people take 5. All these habits meant that I was putting English above everything else during this time. And that is exactly what I needed to do to escape the valley of despair and start climbing up. At this point, it was not just learning anymore. I was changing my life, and every day became a battle. I would wake up early, speak, write, increase my vocabulary first thing in the morning, read and listen all day without using my native language, avoiding any activity that wouldn't bring me closer to my goal. It wasn't always easy. I threw papers away, hurt my hand hitting my desk, and wanted to give up many times. But one thing I knew I wouldn't do was give up and never try again. I had to succeed. And as time went on, I got better and better. Until after 9 months of this routine, something incredible happened. I was watching a movie, no subtitles, and I understood 80% of it. I started talking to myself, and I was actually forming complete sentences. Wait, what was happening? I knew it was time for the real test. I never thought this day would come. After all, I was not living in an English-speaking country, but it was happening. My first conversation with someone in English, in person. I was feeling so nervous. My throat was dry the whole day. I couldn't sit still for even a few minutes. My mind kept telling me, you can't do this. You're gonna fail. But I just kept walking. Here we are. I saw the person and I started getting closer and closer. I shook his hand and I said, hey, how are you doing? For 30 minutes, we talked about his job, the weather, my goals, everything. I made mistakes, I paused a lot, but something amazing happened. He understood me and I understood him. After all the hard work, the months of frustration and pain, I finally did it. For the first time, I had broken through my limiting beliefs and I realized I was getting closer to being fluent. That conversation gave me something I never had before: confidence. From that day, I started seeking more conversations. I talked to people online every week. I made friends from different countries. I started watching movies without subtitles and actually enjoyed them. But I wanted more. I decided to apply to universities in other countries. This was scary, but it pushed my English to the next level. I had to write essays about my life, dreams, and goals. I had to do interviews where professors asked difficult questions. I had to explain complex ideas clearly. 1 year later, I got accepted to more than 5 universities with scholarships. The day I got my first acceptance letter, I realized something. I was not just learning English anymore. I was thinking in English. I was dreaming in English. I was finally fluent. But the journey didn't stop there. I kept going month after month. I started this YouTube channel to help people like me. I built my business. I made friends around the world. Looking back, that moment in the valley of despair, when I wanted to quit every single day, was actually when my real journey began. From scattered papers on a messy desk to running my own business in English, from giving up after 2 weeks to helping thousands of people learn English. The 4-step system works. The why clarification, get survival level clarity on your reasons. Valley of despair navigation, expect it, prepare for it, and push through it. The 4 brain hacks, rewire your brain for English immersion. The confidence bridge, take your English from practice to the real world. I made a detailed video breaking down each of the 4 brain hacks with exact step-by-step instructions. If you want the complete system that took me from warehouse worker to a fluent English-speaking entrepreneur, watch this video next. Your English journey doesn't have to take 5 years. It doesn't require expensive classes or perfect conditions. It just requires the right roadmap. See you in the next video.